So my friend asked if I'd like to come along and go down to Las Vegas with him to deliver the roll bar out of his Shelby GT350 that we took out. So I took the blue Mach 1 over to his house, and then he let me put it in the garage while we went down there. But this is the roll bar and the rear seat delete. You might remember we just took that out of his GT350, and he found someone who would like to buy it from Arizona. Really nice guy. He has a Coyote with a Vortex supercharger, and he did the oil pump gears and the crank sprocket and all that stuff himself. Really cool to see someone who's really into racing, and they've done a lot of work. He said he bought the car brand new, and he really got to the point where he wants that roll bar and needs it for safety. And we had a great time talking. We could talk about, temperatures of the superchargers and the intake air temperatures and air fuel ratios and tuning the car and the 10-speed automatic, which this car has. So it's an A10 and it has the 10R80 transmission. So really neat to see and talk about all that stuff, talk about the N gauge and stuff that he uses to monitor things. And really fun to see a car that goes around the track a lot. He talked about the tires and stuff that he has to swap out for racing, and the challenges you have with daily driving and the challenges with having a track car that you turn into a daily and stuff. So really cool guy, great to talk to. He even brought his son with him, and his son's about 18 or 19 if I remember correctly, and he has a 350Z that he likes to race around the track too, so they get to do that stuff together, and it's just fun to get to know some people and enjoy a nice morning. And so we got down to Shelby American where we were going to meet, and I thought it was cool to see all these exhaust systems sitting here. These might be takeoffs that they're reinstalling the Shelby stuff on with, or these could be the new systems, kind of hard to tell. But there was a Cars and Coffee that day, and everyone was starting to show up. And here's a little bit more of the exhaust. I thought it was cool. You could see the butterfly in there for the cutouts for the active exhaust. So I thought that was kind of cool to look at that and see it all like that. And anyway, pretty cool show. A lot of nice cars. Here's a Coyote 2011 or 12, and then a newer Coyote. Looks like a California Special GT500, white with blue stripes. Looks good. There's a Super Snake, which these are based off the Coyote. So they're Shelby cars that they convert, but they're based off the Coyote engine. And here's a GT350, good looking car. And here is a Hertz edition Rent-A-Racer for the 2006, I believe. And so we'll look at that car a little bit more in detail. A couple of these we'll look more into detail. There's another nice looking Mustang and a GT350 with the red wheels. Beautiful looking car, had a lot of things done to it. Here is a Shelby GT and another Coyote 11 or 12 and a 13 or 14 Grabber Blue Coyote and a silver Mustang, and then the Camaros started coming in and the Corvettes. So it's kind of cool to hear these cars come in. I was happy to see this Mach 1 here again, dark shadow gray. This car was here last time I came down, 2004, 5-speed car, very beautiful Mach 1, and I did talk to the owner after I made one of the recent videos that had this car in it when I had gone down there, so it was pretty cool to see that car again and enjoy this really nice Mach 1 and see him here at the show. And there was a really neat car there at the show as well that I was really interested in, and it's this 65 or 66 original Shelby GT350. Now this car has a pretty cool history. I was looking at those tow bars and the owner came up and said, "What are you doing, trying to look at my oil pan or something?" And I showed him, there's a supercharger right there on it. And I said, "No, I was just looking at these tow hooks on the front." And he started to lead into the story about this car. And I asked him how long he had had it, and he said he bought it in 1967, so it would have been a year or two old. And he said he found it in a scrapyard, and he was actually there to get the short block and the transmission out of the car. And they told him to go ahead and just take the whole thing. So I thought that was incredible. It was so cool to talk to someone who's had this car that long, and he's done a ton of racing in this car. He said it didn't have the trunk, it didn't have the door, everything was stripped off of it. When he saw it and he saw that it was a Shelby, he was really excited, like any young person would be finding a cool car in a junkyard. And he put it back together, and he did a great job. And this car is very original. You can see the patina, you can see it's not in Concord perfect shape, and that's really cool. It's original. It's neat to see it this way. Maybe it's had, you know, a repaint in one time of its life, you never know. But this car has been on a lot of tracks. That's him standing there. And he said he's towed it with these hooks before quite a few times, and it was just so cool to see this car. So I really enjoyed talking to him. I really enjoyed his story. I really thought it was neat that this car was being parted out and scrapped, and he saved it. Here's the Shelby number and the fender there. And it's just really cool to see like that. And of course, like I said, it had the supercharger on it, which is a period correct supercharger. That's what the older Shelbys had on them if they got that supercharger. And I don't think it came that way, but he probably added it. But that's pretty cool. Wood steering wheel, those are worth a lot. You know, it's just so cool to see these Krager wheels. You can see they're kind of corroded or worn, which is fine. It's how they would look after so many years. And he said it was back east that he picked up the car, so that's pretty cool to see. Racing stickers and stuff, so really cool to see an original Shelby that needed some love and attention, and it was taken and used. So awesome. Loved that story. Loved talking to him. Even signed by Carroll Shelby there on the dash. So really, really neat story. I was really grateful I got to talk to him. Here's a really nice Shelby GT350, and it has the coil covers that have been paint matched to the car, it looked like. Really nice. A lot of good details on this car. They added the snake on the side of it. One of the lesser seen colors. You don't see many of these, so pretty cool to see that car. I really liked it, and it looked good with those wheels on it. Nice color combination there. And lots of details you miss out on if you don't look closely. So here's a Super Snake 50th anniversary, it says. So this would be a Coyote Mustang that's been converted by Shelby, and it has the 2.3 liter supercharger, the TVS supercharger on there, and really nice wheels and all the Super Snake stuff. Beautiful car, beautiful color, 67 to 2017 50th anniversary Super Snake stripes and everything on there. So cool to see a car like this that would have been made by Shelby in this case, unlike the GT350 or GT500s that are not Super Snakes. I guess this is a Super Snake, so basically it's something that Shelby has taken, and I'm sure it has a Shelby registry number. Here's a cool one, another CSM number there. And there's the 40th anniversary sticker there. It shows 66 to 2006. And these actually do have a Carroll Shelby number on them. Pretty cool to see. The hood's unique. And it has the Shelby GT-H stripes like the old GT350H Hertz cars would have had. There's the Hertz badge on the fender. Pretty cool to see. And I was actually interested to know if this really had the spoiler on it like this, and it did. That's the way they came for the Hertz cars. And it does not have the California rear bumper, so I thought that was interesting. And here comes a V6 Mustang that has an LS swap and a big turbo on it. So, you know, cool for somebody to take a car like this and take it from being pretty slow and turn it into something fast, and he was proud to bring it to the show, and so I thought that was pretty cool. We'll take a closer look in a second. Here's the California rear bumper. See, this is what I meant. This is a Shelby GT as well. Not a Hertz edition, and it did not come with a spoiler, but it is a car that actually has a Shelby number, and so that's different than the GT500s of its era that were made by Ford. This one was actually converted at Shelby. I have a video about these cars being converted and all lined up. Pretty cool. So here's the turbo LS engine with the big, exhaust coming out of the top and the big turbo. So pretty cool to see. It looks like it was originally a V6 Mustang, and I could tell by a few things. The gauges said 120 on them, which was kind of hard to see. But yeah, it obviously has a different standalone on it now. But side scoops from a 35th anniversary. The honeycomb is different. So V6 did not come with those side scoops, but it does have the V6 bumper still. So kind of cool to see. Automatic and a lot of things. It would be a 2000, I'm guessing, by the badge and by the stereo, the way it has the two slots in it for the radio and CD player. So roll bar. Nice car for somebody to build up. Here's a GT350, beautiful car. It looks like they had the strut tower bar painted. Looks really nice, and red wheels. So beautiful color blue. And my friend was talking to the owners of these cars because my friend has two GT350s, and so he had a good time talking to them, and they were telling them about when they bought it. And we did meet another guy there whose wife had bought him a GT350. He was visiting from back east. Beautiful grabber blue. I love this Coyote. I think this is a really good looking car. And it wasn't until later that I noticed it had a big, looked like intercooler in the front, so it might be a turbo car. Here's a Shelby GT. So similar to the Hertz car, but not a Hertz edition. And see, no rear spoiler. That's the way they would have come. So there's quite a few of those there today. And then here's a new Super Snake. And again, these are built off the Coyote platform. So Shelby takes Coyote Mustangs and then converts them and adds all things to them, seats and dash plaque and gauges and a lot of really neat things to them. So this is kind of a neat car. It looks like a 10R80 10-speed automatic car. And their new fenders with the Super Snake logos and everything, big brakes, so the works. Now this is a Whipple supercharger, and it's a polished one, so that's a really nice supercharger, and that's a very expensive setup. So beautiful looking car. There's the Whipple logo on it, and it was nice to see this car. And there's the Carroll CSM number, so they are numbered cars, and they are in the Carroll Shelby registry. So beautiful California special here. So this would be a Coyote Mustang, and it had a lot of stuff done to it. And looking inside, I noticed it had this little remove before flight thing, plus like the start button, which would be like where you start the car. It had the flip up thing like a fighter jet would have. So kind of neat that they added little details like that, and nice dress up under the hood. And inside I saw they were building the Hertz ones, the new GT500s, Hertz, and there's a Coyote one there too. So cool to see those cars being built here. There's a white with gold. That one's pretty neat looking. I don't think they're going to make very many of those. And there's another black one with gold stripes on the left there. So cool to see the shop and see all those going down. Here's a $8,000 order a custom die cast of your car built by Shelby. And before I say anything about the price, I'll say there is a lot of work put into these, and they look very nice. Everything looked really nice and detailed on this car, and it has the 50th anniversary logo on it. Now you send in your car and they'll make the replica of it, and it even has the plaque that we'll look at here in a second. But the wheels and everything look great. This is a really nice model car, and I'm sure that to have something done like this would cost a lot of money anyway, because there's a lot of hours put into this. And it was just fun to see this car and see it in the case here. They show the process and everything it takes to making all the little parts, and I'm sure this is a lot more involved than it looks. And I tried to get this where you can pause the video if you'd like to look at that. And here you have the name and the serial number, and it's supposed to match your car, so that's kind of pretty cool. And it's a 1/8 scale, so it's not the 1/18 scale, which would be kind of the bigger ones. It's actually a lot bigger than the normal ones. GT500 67, looking really good. This one's been here the last few times I've come, but they have moved these over, and now you can see them in a different area. They were backed in, but now you can walk more around it. They've kind of put some of these Mustangs in the middle and roped them off. So beautiful looking car, white wall tires, 67, and you can tell by the hood and a few different things and the tail lights and stuff. But here's a 66 or 65 GT350, and this had the 50th anniversary on it too. I believe this is one of the newer builds where they take the Mustangs and they turn them into period correct GT350s that you can buy, and a replica of Little Red there, and some other cool cars. Here's a Shelby Series 1, and this was something that was done by Shelby kind of during the era he did the Viper. So when he worked for Dodge, I'm sure he made this car very similar to that, but also tried to make it kind of like the AC Cobra Roadsters in its own way, kind of the modern version. These aren't very well known. My friend had not even seen one of these before or known about them, and I believe it had an Oldsmobile engine in it, so pretty cool. Here is a Shelby 1000. This car, I believe, had a sticker on it at one point that said they were asking $200,000 for it. I believe they are Kenny Bell supercharged, and they're Shelby GT500s that have gone to Shelby and been turned up. So pretty cool to see. Nice blue color there. And parked next to it was a black Shelby. It looked like a Super Snake car. It had these stripes on it with the X on it. Somebody could probably give more detail to this, but it was really cool to see it there. And those stripes were really hard to see, and they had it down the side. If you look closely, you'll see kind of those zebra stripes down the side. So I don't know what this car's history is or what's special about it, but it's in there, and it has the Shelby stuff on it, so it must be a Shelby. It says Shelby there instead of 50th anniversary or anything, but and actually I think it said 60th. We'll look here. Cool badging though, really like it. And this one does say Shelby American 60 years, 62 to 2022. So that's pretty cool to see. And again, I had to get another shot of those Hertz cars being built because that's pretty historic. They're Whipple supercharged as well. So nice to see. Really cool historic moment there for the Hertz cars. So great trip. We made it home safe. Everything went well. And we had a fun time. And so it's fun to meet up with our new friend who bought the roll bar for the GT350, and we just had a great trip and all was well. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.